Admiral Katie Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Constitution, staring at the biggest ships she had ever seen. They hung in space above Earth like dark metal clouds, blocking out the stars. Each alien vessel was huge, bigger than any building back home. There were hundreds of them, maybe thousands. "How many do you count, Jake?" she asked. Captain Jake Phillips checked his screen again. His hands shook a little. 2,000 ships, Admiral. Maybe more. They're still coming through whatever portal they used to get here. Katie felt her stomach drop. The entire human space fleet had only 50 ships, and most of those were small patrol boats. These alien ships looked like they could eat planets for breakfast. The radio crackled to life. A voice spoke in perfect English, cold and emotionless like a machine. "Humans of Earth. I am Fleet Commander Vexthal of the Zephyrian Hegemony. Your species is now under our authority. You have 7 of your days to surrender completely. Lay down all weapons. Abandon all resistance. Submit to our rule." Katie grabbed the radio. "This is Admiral Morrison of the Earth Defense Fleet. Who are you? What do you want?" "We are the Zephyrians. We have conquered 400 star systems in the last 1,000 years. We want nothing from you except your complete surrender. Refuse and we will destroy every city, every ship, every human life on your world." The radio went silent. Katie looked around at her crew. Their faces were pale with fear. "Get me President Carter," she said. 20 minutes later, Katie sat in, a video call with world leaders from every major country. President Lisa Carter looked tired and scared. General Pete Rodriguez kept wiping sweat from his forehead. "What are our options?" President Carter asked. "We could surrender," General Rodriguez said quietly. "Maybe they'll let some of us live." "No," said Dr. Amy Foster from her lab in Colorado. She was Earth's best scientist for studying alien life. "I've been listening to their radio signals. I ran them through every translation program we have. These Zephyrians don't just conquer planets, they erase them completely. No survivors, no prisoners, nothing left." Katie felt cold. "You're sure? I found records of their last 3 conquests in their transmissions. The planets are empty now. No cities, no people, not even animals. They kill everything." The room fell silent. General Rodriguez put his head in his hands. "So we fight?" President Carter asked. Katie looked at the numbers on her screen again. 2,000 alien ships against 50 human ships. It was hopeless. But what choice did they have? "We fight," she said. President Carter nodded slowly. "Send them our answer." Katie opened the radio channel to the alien fleet. She took a deep breath. "This is Admiral Morrison speaking for all of Earth. We reject your ultimatum. If you want our world, come and take it." The alien response came immediately. Vexathal's voice was colder than before. "You have chosen destruction. We will begin with your military targets. Watch your cities burn, humans. Know that your defiance has sealed your fate." The first energy beams came down from space like blue lightning. They hit the naval base in Norfolk, Virginia. The entire base vanished in a flash of light, leaving only a smoking crater. Then came Los Angeles Air Force Base. Gone. Then the submarine base in Connecticut. Gone. Katie watched the reports flooding in from around the world. Every major military site was being hit. Thousands of soldiers died in the first 10 minutes. "They're not even using their main weapons," Jake said, his voice barely a whisper. "Those are just their light guns." On the main screen, they could see one of the alien ships moving closer to Earth. It was black and smooth, shaped like a giant arrowhead. Smaller ships flew around it like insects around a light. "How big is that one?" Katie asked. 15 miles long, Admiral, and that's one of their smaller ships." Katie closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, her crew was looking at her. They wanted orders. They wanted hope. She wasn't sure she had any to give, but she was still an admiral in the Earth Defense Fleet. She still had a job to do. "All ships," she said into her radio. "This is Admiral Morrison. Form up around Earth's moon. We're going to show these aliens what humans are made of." "Admiral," Jake said quietly, "we can't win this fight." Katie looked at him. Maybe not, but we can make them remember us. The alien bombardment continued. Cities around the world reported explosions in the sky as orbital defense platforms were destroyed. The space station above Mars went silent. Even the research base on the moon stopped transmitting. Dr. Foster's voice came through the radio from her underground bunker. "Admiral, I'm picking up more alien transmissions. They're talking about something called purification protocol. I think that means they're going to kill everyone on Earth, not just the military." Katie wasn't surprised. She had expected this. "How long do we have?" she asked. "Based on their attack pattern, maybe 6 days before they start hitting civilian targets, but Admiral, there's something else. I think they're overconfident. They're not even bothering to defend their rear ships. They think we're too weak to be a threat." Katie looked at the alien fleet hanging in space above them. 2,000 ships against 50. Maybe Dr. Foster was right. Maybe they were overconfident. "Jake," she said, "send a message to all remaining Earth forces. Tell them to get ready for the fight of our lives." The first day of the war was ending. Earth had lost half its military in 12 hours. The aliens hadn't lost a single ship. But Katie Morrison was still alive. Her fleet was still fighting. And somewhere in the back of her mind, a plan was starting to form. The aliens thought humans were weak. They thought this would be easy. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Captain Ryan Taylor looked at his small ship floating in the darkness of space. The USS Shadow was built for sneaking around, not fighting. It was black as midnight and small enough to hide behind an asteroid. Today, he was going to fly it straight into the enemy fleet. "This is crazy," said Lieutenant Commander Beth Williams from the pilot seat. "Even if we get close to their ships, how do we get back?" "We probably don't," Ryan said honestly. "But if we can learn something about them, maybe the others can use it to fight back." Chief Engineer Carlos Martinez was in the back of the ship, working on their weapons. He had taken apart 3 broken alien guns they found in the wreckage of Norfolk Base. Now he was trying to make them work with human power systems. "I got one of them working," Carlos said, "but it only has enough power for maybe 10 shots. Ryan nodded. 10 shots were better than nothing. The Shadow moved slowly toward the alien fleet. The enemy ships were huge and dark, hanging in space like sleeping giants. Ryan could see smaller ships flying between them, but they weren't paying attention to anything as small as his vessel. "They're not even scanning for us," Beth whispered. "It's like they don't think we're dangerous enough to worry about." That gave Ryan an idea. Maybe the aliens were too sure of themselves. Maybe they thought humans were so weak that they didn't need to be careful. On Earth, things were getting worse. The aliens had destroyed every major military base in the world. Millions of people were dead. But in an underground bunker in Colorado, Dr. Helen Brooks was working day and night to understand the enemy. She had been listening to alien radio signals since they arrived. Slowly, she was learning their language. What she found scared her. "Admiral Morrison," she said into her radio, "I cracked more of their codes. The aliens have something called a command ship for every 100 regular ships. If we destroy the command ship, the other ships can't work together anymore." Katie's voice came back through the static. "How many command ships?" 20. "But there's more, Admiral. They use a chain of command just like we do. There are 3 super command ships that control everything. If we could hit those, the whole fleet might fall apart." Katie finished. "Good work, Helen. Keep listening." On the ground, Colonel Nick Parker was trying to hold together what was left of Earth's armies. The aliens had landed troops in major cities around the world. But these ground forces were small, maybe because the aliens expected no real fight. Nick had fought in wars before, but never against enemies from space. The alien soldiers were tall and thin, wearing armor that looked like liquid metal. Their weapons could cut through a tank like paper. But Nick noticed something important. The aliens moved in straight lines. They attacked the same way every time. They acted like they had never fought an enemy that fought back. "They don't know how to handle guerrilla warfare," he told his officers over a secure radio channel. "They expect us to line up and fight them fairly. Let's not do that." Nick's forces began hit-and-run attacks. They would appear, shoot at enemy patrols, then disappear into buildings or sewers. The aliens seemed confused by this. They were used to enemies who fought in formation, not ones who hid and struck from shadows. In Russia, Colonel Yuki Petrov was doing the same thing. In China, General Lin Zhang organized farmers and factory workers into resistance cells. Even old enemies were working together now. The threat from space had made Earth's people unite like never before. Back on the Shadow, Ryan Taylor was getting closer to the alien fleet. The enemy ships were so big that his vessel looked like a fly next to elephants. "I'm reading their computer signals," Carlos said. "Their security is terrible. They're not even trying to hide their communications." Beth flew the Shadow between two massive alien ships. The space between them was big enough to fit a city. "They really don't think we're a threat," she said. Ryan recorded everything he could see. The alien ships had obvious weak spots where weapons couldn't turn to shoot. They had landing bays that weren't defended. Most importantly, they seemed to be designed for fighting other big ships, not small, fast ones. "Get us out of here," Ryan said. "We have what we need." But as the Shadow turned to leave, alarms started blaring on the alien ships. They had been discovered. Energy beams shot past them as Beth pushed the engines to maximum power. The Shadow raced between alien ships, dodging weapons fire that could destroy a city. "There!" Carlos shouted, pointing at a gap between two ships. "We can hide in there." Beth flew the Shadow into the gap. The alien ships were so big that they created shadows where smaller vessels could hide. The enemy fire stopped. On Earth, Amy Foster was making a discovery that would change everything. She had been studying samples of alien technology and alien bodies from crashed ships. What she found made her hands shake with excitement. The aliens had never encountered Earth bacteria. Their immune systems had no defense against the tiny organisms that lived everywhere on Earth. A common cold virus could kill them. "This is it," she said to her assistant. "This is how we fight back." Amy began working on a way to weaponize Earth's bacteria. If they could get these tiny organisms into the alien ships, the enemy crews would start dying within hours. Meanwhile, the Shadow had escaped the alien fleet and was racing back to Earth. Ryan's ship was damaged but still flying. The information they had gathered was more valuable than gold. "Admiral Morrison," Ryan said over the radio, "we found their weakness. They're arrogant. They don't think we can hurt them. We can use that." Katie's voice came back strong and clear. "Tell me everything, Captain. It's time we showed these aliens what humans can do when they're fighting for their lives." The second day of the war was ending. Earth had lost more cities. More people were dead. But now humanity had hope. They had information about the enemy. They had a plan forming. The aliens still thought this would be easy. Soon they would learn how wrong they were. Admiral Katie Morrison stared at the holographic map floating above her command table. The alien fleet still hung over Earth like a dark cloud, but now she had a plan that was either brilliant or completely insane. "You want to do what?" "General," Rodriguez asked through the video link. His face was pale with shock. "We're going to run away," Katie said calmly, "or we're going to make them think we're running away." Commander Rachel Stone stood beside the Admiral. She had been a cruise ship captain before the war started. Now she commanded a fleet of civilian ships that looked like they were trying to escape Earth. "The plan is simple," Katie explained. "We load our most important leaders and scientists onto civilian ships. We make it look like we're evacuating to Jupiter's moons. The aliens will follow us because they want to destroy everything. And then?" President Carter asked from her bunker in Washington. "Then we spring the trap," Katie said. "Rachel's ships aren't really civilian vessels anymore. We've been hiding weapons inside them for the past 3 days." Rachel nodded. "Cargo, ships with railguns built into their holds, passenger liners with missile pods disguised as life support systems, even converted tanker ships with plasma cannons." Dr. Amy Foster spoke up from her laboratory. "The bacterial weapon is ready too. We can spray it through the air systems of every ship in Rachel's fleet. When the aliens get close enough, we'll release it." But the plan required someone to make the aliens believe humanity was truly desperate. That job fell to Captain Alex. Turner and his ship, the USS Valor Alex, was a good man and a better captain. His crew trusted him completely. They would need that trust for what came next. "We have to lose," Alex told his tactical officer, Lieutenant Sarah Kim. "We have to make it look real." Sarah understood. Over the next 2 days, the Valor would attack alien ships in ways that looked brave but foolish. They would retreat at just the right moments to make the aliens think humanity was falling apart. The first fake battle happened near Mars. Alex brought the Valor close to a small alien patrol ship. They fired their weapons, but missed on purpose. When the alien ship fired back, Alex made sure the Valor looked damaged even though it wasn't. "Mayday, Mayday," Sarah broadcast on all frequencies. "This is the USS Valor. We're badly damaged and retreating. Repeat, we are retreating." The alien commander, Supreme Admiral Krythok, heard the message from his massive command ship. He laughed. "A sound like grinding metal. Humans are weak," he told his officers. "Look how they run from one small patrol ship. This conquest will be easier than I thought." Meanwhile, Dr. Janet Mills was working with Carlos Martinez to prepare their secret weapons. Janet had found a way to turn Earth bacteria into a deadly weapon for aliens. She could make it spread through the air like a fine mist. Carlos had been busy too. He had figured out how to put computer viruses into alien systems. During Captain Ryan's spy mission, they had learned about alien security weaknesses. Now Carlos was building viruses that could make alien ships crash into each other. Programmer Kevin Chen was helping Carlos with the computer attack. Kevin had spent years fighting hackers on Earth. Now he was using those same skills against alien computer systems. "Their security is terrible," Kevin said as he worked. "It's like they've never had anyone try to hack them before." "They probably haven't," Carlos replied. "When you've conquered 400 planets and never lost a battle, you stop worrying about security." The fake evacuation began on the 4th day of the war. Rachel's fleet of disguised civilian ships left Earth's orbit, heading toward Jupiter. The ships were packed with what looked like important people and valuable technology. The alien fleet followed them, just as Katie had hoped. Captain Alex continued his fake battles, making humanity look more desperate each time. The USS Valor would attack alien ships, get beaten badly, and retreat. Other human ships did the same thing in different parts of the solar system. Supreme Admiral Krythok watched these battles from his command ship. Each human defeat made him more confident. Soon he would gather his entire fleet for one final attack. He wanted to broadcast humanity's destruction across the galaxy as a warning to other worlds. On the 5th day, Dr. Foster's bacterial weapons were loaded onto every ship in Rachel's fleet. The tiny organisms were sealed in containers that could be opened by remote control. When released, they would spread through space like an invisible cloud of death. Kevin Chen's computer virus was ready too. It was hidden in fake distress signals that human ships would broadcast. When alien ships tried to decode these signals, the virus would infect their computers. Captain Ryan Taylor, recovered from his spy mission, piloted a small scout ship to Jupiter ahead of the main fleet. His job was to find the best place for the trap. The moons of Jupiter had lots of places to hide ships and weapons. "Perfect," Ryan said as he studied the area around Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. "We can hide the real fleet behind the moon. The aliens won't see us until it's too late." Back on Earth, Colonel Nick Parker was still fighting alien ground troops. But now his soldiers had a new job. They were sending fake radio messages about humanity's desperate situation. They wanted the aliens to intercept these messages and believe them. "Command, this is Ground Force 7, Nick broadcast, knowing the aliens were listening. "We're running out of ammunition. Most of our people are dead. We can't hold out much longer." The aliens heard these messages and believed them. Why wouldn't they? They had never fought an enemy clever enough to lie. By the 6th day, Rachel's civilian fleet had reached Jupiter. The alien fleet was close behind them, like wolves chasing sheep. Supreme Admiral Krythok prepared to give the order for the final attack. He gathered his entire fleet, all 2,000 ships, for what he planned to be humanity's last battle. He wanted every alien in the galaxy to see how the mighty Zephyrian Hegemony dealt with rebels. What Krythok didn't know was that the sheep had teeth. Hidden weapons were ready. Deadly bacteria waited to be released. Computer viruses were primed to attack, and behind Jupiter's moon, the real human fleet waited in the shadows. Admiral Katie Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Constitution, watching the alien fleet move into position. Her trap was almost ready. "All ships," she said quietly into her radio. "Prepare for battle. Today we find out if humans are as weak as they think we are." The greatest battle in human history was about to begin. The battle began at sunrise on Europa, Jupiter's frozen moon. Commander Rachel Stone stood on the bridge of what used to be a cruise ship called the Ocean Dream. Now it was the USS Liberty, and it was about to show the aliens what humans could do when they were angry. "All civilian ships," Rachel said into her radio. "Drop the disguise. Show them what we really are." Across the fake refugee fleet, cargo holds opened to reveal massive rail guns. Passenger decks slid apart to show missile launchers. Even the old tanker ships sprouted weapon systems like deadly flowers. Supreme Admiral Krythok stared at his viewing screen in shock. The helpless human ships were suddenly bristling with weapons he had never seen before. "Impossible," he said. "They were running away. They were defeated." His tactical officer was panicking. "Sir, they're targeting our command ships." "How did they know?" The first human attack hit 3 alien command vessels at once. The railguns fired metal slugs at incredible speed, punching holes through alien armor like it was paper. Missiles streaked between the massive alien ships, exploding against their hulls. But the real surprise came when Dr. Foster's bacterial weapon deployed. Invisible clouds of Earth bacteria spread through space toward the alien fleet. The organisms were harmless to humans but deadly to aliens who had never encountered them. On the alien command ship Destroyer of Worlds, crew members began collapsing at their posts. They couldn't breathe. Their skin turned strange colors. Within minutes, half the crew was dead or dying. "What's happening to us?" Krythok demanded, as his own officers started falling down around him. The answer came from Kevin Chen's computer. Virus. Hidden in fake distress signals, the virus had infected alien computer systems throughout the fleet. Navigation computers began showing false readings. Weapon systems fired at their own ships. Communication networks went silent. Admiral Katie Morrison watched the chaos from behind Europa. Her real fleet was still hidden, waiting for the right moment to strike. "Now," she said quietly. The USS Constitution emerged from behind the moon, followed by 50 other human ships. They weren't big or impressive compared to the alien vessels, but they moved fast and hit hard. Captain Alex Turner brought the USS Valor out of its hiding place. Its hull scarred from fake battles, but its weapons working perfectly. This time he wasn't pretending to lose. "Target their command ships," Alex told his crew. "Make every shot count." Commander Luke Hayes led a squadron of small fighter ships through the chaos. The alien vessels were so big that fighters could fly between their weapon systems, hitting targets the aliens couldn't defend. "They never learned to fight small ship," and Luke said as his fighter dodged between massive alien guns. "They only know how to fight other giant ships." The tide of battle turned completely when something impossible happened. The captured Zephyrian, Dreadnought Kethmore, thought destroyed days ago, suddenly appeared behind the alien fleet. But it wasn't flying an alien flag anymore. Captain Ryan Taylor stood on the bridge of the alien ship, surrounded by human crew members and freed prisoners. For the past week he had been trapped inside the alien vessel, learning their systems and turning their own weapons against them. "This is Captain Taylor to all human forces," he broadcast. "I have control of an alien dreadnought, requesting targets." Katie Morrison almost smiled. "Take out their flagship, Ryan. End this." The Kethmore turned its massive guns on Supreme Admiral Krythok's command ship. The alien admiral watched in horror as his own technology was used to destroy his fleet. Around them, the Zephyrian fleet was falling apart. Ships crashed into each other as their navigation systems failed. Crews died from Earth bacteria they couldn't fight. Human weapons, small but deadly, picked apart the giant alien vessels piece by piece. "Retreat," Krythok finally ordered. "All ships, retreat." But retreat was impossible. The computer virus had infected too many systems. Many alien ships couldn't change course. Others were already dead in space, their crews victims of bacterial infection. Carlos Martinez watched from his engineering station as alien ships tried desperately to restart their engines. "Their technology is amazing," he said, "but it's not designed to handle our kind of warfare." The battle raged for 6 hours. When it ended, most of the alien fleet was destroyed or drifting helplessly in space. Of the original 2,000 Zephyrian ships, fewer than 200 were still able to fight. Supreme Admiral Krythok's flagship was badly damaged. Half his crew was dead. His weapons were offline. For the first time in his life, he was facing defeat. But Krythok had one last card to play. If he couldn't conquer humanity, he would make sure they didn't survive either. "All remaining ships," he broadcast to his fleet, "set course for Earth. We will ram their homeworld. If we cannot rule them, we will destroy them completely." The surviving alien ships turned toward Earth, their hulls glowing as they prepared for a suicide run. Even damaged and dying, they had enough power to crack Earth's surface like an egg. Admiral Morrison saw what was happening. "All ships," she said into her radio, "intercept course for Earth. We have to stop them." Captain Alex Turner looked at his crew. The USS Valor was barely holding together, its hull cracked and its engines failing. But between the alien ships and Earth stood only the human fleet. "Set course for the alien flagship," Alex told his pilot. "Full speed." "Sir," Sarah Kim said quietly, "we won't survive ramming their ship." Alex nodded. "I know, but Earth will." The final phase of the battle was about to begin. The aliens were making one last desperate attack on Earth itself. All that stood between them and humanity's homeworld were 50 human ships that had already fought the battle of their lives. Katie Morrison gripped the rail of her bridge as the Constitution raced toward Earth. Behind her, Jupiter's moons were littered with the wreckage of alien ships. Ahead of her, the surviving enemies were preparing to destroy everything humanity had ever built. "This is Admiral Morrison to all human forces," she said. "We end this here and now. No alien ship reaches Earth. Whatever it takes." The words echoed through every human ship as they raced toward home. The final battle was about to begin. Captain Alex Turner watched Earth grow larger on his screen as the USS Valor raced toward home. Behind him, 200 alien ships were doing the same thing. They planned to crash into Earth and destroy everything. "How long until they reach our planet?" Alex asked. 20 minutes, Lieutenant Sarah Kim replied. "Maybe less." Alex looked at his crew. They were tired, scared, but still fighting. The Valor was falling apart around them, but its engines still worked. Its weapons still fired. "Set collision course with the alien flagship," Alex said quietly. His crew didn't argue. They knew what had to be done. Supreme Admiral Krythok stood on his damaged bridge, watching Earth get closer. His ship was barely flying, but it was big enough to destroy a continent when it hit. "Humans will remember this day," he said to his remaining officers. "They will remember the price of defying the Zephyrian hegemony." Then something slammed into his ship. The USS Valor, small compared to the alien vessel, crashed into the flagship's engine section. The explosion was visible from Earth. Krythok's ship spun out of control, its engines dead. It would not reach Earth now, but Alex Turner and his brave crew were gone. Admiral Katie Morrison saw the explosion and felt her heart break. Alex had been a good friend and a better captain, but his sacrifice bought them precious time. "All ships," she said into her radio, "stop the remaining aliens. Don't let any of them reach Earth." The human fleet spread out between the alien ships and their homeworld. 50 human vessels against 200 alien ones. The odds were still terrible, but they were better than before. Dr. Amy Foster's bacterial weapon continued to work even in the final battle. More alien crews collapsed as Earth organisms attacked their immune systems. Ships that had survived. The battle at Jupiter were now dying from tiny creatures they couldn't see or fight. Carlos Martinez pushed his engines beyond their limits, racing to intercept alien ships. His railgun fired again and again, each shot aimed at vital systems. Other human ships did the same, targeting engines and weapons instead of trying to destroy the massive alien vessels completely. Commander Luke Hayes led his fighter squadron through the chaos one more time. His small ships were fast enough to get between the aliens and Earth, slowing them down with hit-and-run attacks. "We don't have to destroy them all," Luke said over the radio. "We just have to stop them from reaching Earth." Captain Ryan Taylor, still commanding the captured alien dreadnought, had the biggest guns in the battle. The Kethmore's weapons were designed to destroy planets, but today they were protecting one. "Targeting alien ships approaching Earth's atmosphere," Ryan reported, firing main guns. The massive energy beams reached out across space, striking alien vessels as they tried to begin their final dive toward Earth. Ships that had survived everything else finally broke apart under the power of their own weapons, but some aliens were still getting through. A dozen enemy ships entered Earth's atmosphere, their hulls glowing like falling stars. They were heading for major cities around the world. On Earth, Colonel Nick Parker watched the alien ships falling toward his planet. His ground forces had hidden weapons in every major city, waiting for this moment. "All units," Nick said. "Target the falling ships. Use everything we have." Surface-to-air missiles launched from hidden positions around the world. The weapons were small compared to space battles, but they didn't need to destroy the alien ships. They just needed to make them crash in empty areas instead of cities. 3 alien ships crashed into the ocean instead of New York. 2 more hit empty desert instead of London. One by one, the suicide attackers were stopped or redirected away from population centers. In space, the final alien ships were dying. Earth bacteria had killed most of their crews. Human weapons had disabled their engines. Computer viruses had crashed their navigation systems. Fleet Commander Vexthal, on one of the last surviving alien ships, opened a communication channel to the human fleet. His voice was weak and defeated. "Admiral Morrison," he said, "I request permission to surrender." Katie was surprised. "Surrender? Our fleet is destroyed, our crews are dying. According to Zephyrian law, I offer total submission in exchange for the lives of my remaining people." Katie thought about it. The aliens had tried to destroy Earth and kill everyone on it. They deserved no mercy. But she was not like them. "Keep your lives," she said finally. "Keep your ships. Just leave our space and never return. Tell your empire what happened here. Tell them that humanity doesn't seek conquest, but we will never surrender to anyone." Vexthal was quiet for a long moment. "You would spare us? After what we tried to do?" "We're not like you," Katie replied. "We don't destroy our enemies just because we can." The remaining alien ships limped away from Earth, their hulls damaged, and their crews decimated by bacteria they couldn't fight. They would carry word back to the Zephyrian Empire about the small planet that had done the impossible. The war was over. Earth had won. But the victory came at a terrible price. Half of Earth's cities were in ruins. Billions of people were dead. The human space fleet was reduced to twisted metal and brave memories. Captain Alex Turner and thousands of other heroes would never come home. President Lisa Carter stood in the ruins of Washington, D.C., addressing the world. "We have survived," she said. "We have won. But we will never forget the cost of this victory. We will rebuild. We will reach for the stars, and we will make sure no other world faces alone what we faced." 6 months later, Admiral Katie Morrison stood on the bridge of a new ship. The USS Terran Dawn was built with human engineering and captured alien technology. It was humanity's first real starship, designed to travel between the stars. Commander Rachel Stone, now serving as the ship's first officer, reported that their long-range sensors were picking up signals from across the galaxy. Other worlds that had been conquered by the Zephyrians were rebelling, inspired by humanity's victory. "Course laid in for the Centauri system, Admiral," Rachel said. "There's a planet there that's asking for our help." Katie nodded. "Take us out, Commander. Let's show the galaxy what humans can do when we work together." As the Terran Dawn jumped into hyperspace, Katie thought about the war that had changed everything. The aliens had claimed their fleet was invincible. They had been wrong. Now the galaxy would learn that humans could be defeated, but they would never surrender, and sometimes that made all the difference.